All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. The Thunder have a big second half and take game one of the conference finals against the Timberwolves. I want to talk about the game here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications to also like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, getting closer and closer as the days go on. So I'll support on the channel. Be very much appreciated. It's my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right to it. So OKC, they have a big second half and take care of Minnesota in game one of the conference final. They go up 1-0. This was a game where the first half was a very, defensive oriented first half. Both teams did not shoot the ball super well. Shea was 2 for like 13 in the first half. Really, the only one that could go going offensively was Julius Randle and Isaiah Hartenstein. Julius Randle dropped 20 in the first half. He just looked like he had 5 3-pointers. Just everything was going in for him. For Randle, then on the other side, Hartenstein, I think he had like 12 points, 10, 12 points in the first half. That little flow shot was going in. But yeah, it was a lot of defense, really. Both teams playing really good defensively. Minnesota in the half court, I felt like did a really good job defensively. Jaden McDaniels did a great job on Shea. Even though they came out, they had a lot of fouls in the first quarter. First quarter was just free throw after free throw after free throw after free throw. But Minnesota tightened up a little bit, got more discipline, had a great second quarter defensively in the half court. It felt like OKC couldn't really get anything going. Passed up a lot of good 3-point shots. OKC didn't really shoot a lot of 3-pointers today in this game, you know. But on the flip side, OKC was turning the ball over for Minnesota, and Minnesota's offense wasn't super sharp either. They were missing a lot of threes. It took like 33s dang near in the first half. And so it was just a back and forth game of contrasting styles, but it all came to, I think it was a 4-point lead for Minnesota at halftime. It was a very rough looking first half for both teams offensively. Then we get to the third quarter, and it goes back and forth to start, but then OKC hits a run. And I think a couple big parts of this run. One of them was Jalen Williams. Unfortunately, I don't have the quarter by quarter scoring in front of me for NBA.com. It hasn't updated that yet because the game just ended like a couple minutes ago. But J-Dub, he probably had like 7 or 9 points in the third quarter, but it felt like a lot more because it felt like, they took the ball out of Shea's hands a little bit more and put the ball in J-Dub's hands. He was the one initiating the offense, bring the ball up the court. And it felt like it took a lot of pressure off of Shea and Jaden McDaniels, and J-Dub was getting to work. J-Dub got to the bucket a couple of times to finish, got to the little mid-range pull-up and hit it. And having someone else that can do something offensively and not have Shea have to run every single thing and have the whole Minnesota defense focus on just Shea and then lock into Shea with J-Dub starting to open up and hit some shots was big. I think the bench, Kenrich Williams, Kenny Hustle. I don't think he's played like a single actual real minute in this playoffs yet. And yet he gets thrown into the fire here in game one and has a big game. He only had 8 points, 3 rebounds, but he was a plus 19 on the court. He came in, he had a step back mid range and a 3-pointer on back-to-back possessions. I feel like lift a huge weight off of OKC Thunder's shoulders. I think the defense for OKC really stepped up, and they're one of those teams for the Thunder where once they start rolling, once a run happens, it feels like a snowball effect. It just keeps going and going and going and going. All of a sudden, you look up and it's the game's over. You lost by 25, and you're like, how? Like the game, OKC won this game by like what, 26 points. This wasn't really a 26-point win for OKC. It wasn't like OKC just put the belt to Minnesota the entire game. But OKC is one of those teams where, like, it starts becoming an avalanche, where all of a sudden you just score 6 straight points, and it's 10, then it's 12, then it's 14, and then it just keeps going and going and going and going. And once they get that little confidence boost, and once they get that little run going, the whole crowd wakes up. They wake up and they're like, okay, we kill them right now. Like that's the type of team they have. That was just the vibe of this team. Like once a little snowball starts rolling, then all of a sudden it becomes a big snowball, and all of a sudden it becomes an avalanche, and now you look up and you're down 25, and you're like, how did this happen? It was just a 2-point game, and that's what OKC did. Minnesota just couldn't really get anything going. The 3-point shooting was not there. Julius Randle really slowed down the second half. Anthony Edwards wasn't really aggressive at all. There's a lot of possessions where I feel like the ball ended up in Don DiVincenzo's hand and Naz Reid's hands with like 5 seconds left, and they had to like try to get a bucket. And that's not really what you want. And if Julius Randle was posting up, I think they made a switch in the second half. They put Lou Dort on Julius Randle, a more physical, body, and Randall couldn't really get anything going. He had 5 turnovers in this game. I feel like they were pressuring Ant for a lot of this game, where Ant couldn't really get to his spots or where he wanted to go, because they were pressuring Ant and forcing him to give the ball up and allowing the other ones to shoot. Minnesota took 51 threes in this game, only made 15 of them, while OKC only took 21 threes and made 11. So Minnesota took 30 more threes than OKC and only made 4 more. Only had 12 more points in OKC. You only have 12 more points in the other team, even though you took 30 more threes. But OKC made half that back up because he had 5. They made 6 more free throws because they took 5 more free throws. And he gets to the start of the fourth, and Chet has a big fourth quarter. He had like 9 points or 11 points in the fourth quarter. Him being in the paint, just really getting easy buckets. They're just dubbing it down to him. He was getting easy buckets. He also had some big plays defensively. And then Shea really woke up, got to the free throw line a lot. Started getting to his mid-range bag. He had 9 assists, and he put this to bed quickly. Some of the numbers in this game that really stand out: paint points. OKC 54 points in the paint. Minnesota 20. That equates to the 3-point differential, where Minnesota took 30 more threes. OKC just dominating the paint. Rudy Gobert did not really play a lot in this game. Rudy Gobert only played 21 minutes. He played the least amount of minutes from their top 8 guys. He only played 21 minutes. And he was on -2 in his 21 minutes. I feel like I didn't see Rudy Gobert like halfway through the third quarter. I feel like I didn't see Rudy Gobert the rest of the game. I don't know that for sure, but in my head, I don't feel like I've seen Rudy Gobert play the fourth quarter, which is very, very interesting because Chet Holmgren had a really good start to the fourth quarter. OKC started getting to the paint, getting to the basket, getting easy looks. And it wasn't like Naz Reid was out there doing anything crazy. Naz Reid was 1 for 11 and 0 for 7. He didn't get his first bucket till the fourth quarter. Naz Reid was at -21 in this game. So really interesting to see that, they didn't really go back to Rudy at any point in this game. But yeah, that was a big thing. OKC getting to the paint. And I feel like OKC was living with Minnesota shooting the 3 ball. I felt OKC was living with it. If it's not Anthony Edwards or Julius Randle getting a bucket, we'll live. We'll live with Jaden McDaniels shooting. We'll live with Naz Reid shooting. We'll live with Donte DiVincenzo shooting. We'll live with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. We'll live with all of them shooting. Mike Conley, we'll live with them shooting. And if they hit those shots and start getting on fire, hey, they do. But as long as it's not Randle or Ant, we're good. We feel confident. And especially after that first half, I feel like they felt even more confident once going into that fourth quarter of like, oh yeah, let them shoot. Let them shoot themselves back into this game. Fast break points. 12 for OKC, 0 for Minnesota. OKC forced 17 turnovers. Well, they only had 12. 17 turnovers for us, and 9 of them between Randle, Edwards, and 3 for Naz Reid, 2, and 3 for Jaden McDaniels. So big there. And then that equates to points off turnovers. OKC, 31. 31 points off turnovers. Minnesota, 10. OKC outscored Minnesota's bench in this game. That's not something you see often. Where for Minnesota, it was a tough shooting night. The Naz, DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker minutes were not great. Naz Reid, -21. Don DiVincenzo, -20. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, -14. They combined to shoot 5 for, what is that? 5 for, that's what, 21. 5 for 28 from 3. Naz Reid, Don DiVincenzo, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker combined to shoot 5 for 20. What, did I say 28? I'm sorry, my math. Not great. 5 for 28. 5 for 28 from 3 and only 2 free throw attempts by Naz Reid. That's it. 5 for 28 from 3. And yeah, 9 points for DiVincenzo, 8 points for Nickeil, 4 for Naz Reid. They even put Jalen Clark got some minutes in this game just for defensive purposes, and he didn't really do much. He had 2 rebounds, hit a free throw, got a put back layup. That's really all he did. And then yeah, Mike Conley, 7 points in his 22 minutes. He didn't really make an impact in this game. And then Jaden McDaniels fouls out in this game, 7 points. Hit the first 2 shots in the game, and I was like, oh shoot, here comes McDaniels. And for the rest of the game, he only took 3 shots the rest of the game. He only played 23 minutes because he fouled out. But yeah, and then Ant took 13 shots. Now Don DiVincenzo led the team in shot attempts. I mean, that was just really OKC's defense being like, hey, as long as it's not Randle or Ant, y'all, Don DiVincenzo, you want to take all the shots you can? Go ahead, Dante. There was times where Don DiVincenzo had to just shoot a 3 or try to drive to the rim because it was like they're pressuring Randle and Ant. They're not letting anyone else. They're not letting those two do anything. So someone else got to do something. And Dante was like, okay, I'll do it, I guess. So yeah, and then Randle only 8 points in the second half. I don't know if he scored in the third quarter. I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, just a tough game for Minnesota. Bad shooting night, 35% for the field. Again, 15 for 51 from 3. lose the turnover battle. You give up 30 points off turnovers. Just a classic OKC type of game, you know. And the Shea has his huge moment with 31 points. I guess I'll talk about with the Shea, the foul baiting. I guess it's been a big conversation, and it's going to be a big conversation probably for maybe not only this game, but maybe the rest of the series. We know Shea. Shea gets to the free throw line a lot. We understand that. Shea, I think he led the league in free throw attempts. I'm not free throw attempts, sorry. Free throws made. I think Giannis led in free throw attempts, I want to say. But Shea led in free throws made. It's a big part of his game getting in the free throw line. He took 14 free throws today. You know? Like, it's just a thing he does. And a lot of people get kind of like, you know, don't show Shea the respect he deserves, and a lot of it's more of a social media thing. So honestly, it really just does not matter at all. But it's more of a fan thing where it's like people don't like Shea because he foul baits, you know, foul baiting and you know him flopping and doing all this stuff. For me personally, I don't care about that. Like I really don't care about the foul baiting and all that stuff. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't matter to me at all. Why? Because one, Shea's elite. You know, take away all the free throws and stuff and just watch his possessions where he shoots and stuff. Shea Alexander is a pure hooper, scoring all three levels, like just dominant. Once he gets 2 feet around the free throw line area, mid range area, he's scoring. Just count the 2 points. You know, like that's just what he is. He's an elite player. He most likely is going to win MVP for a reason. And yeah, he's all NBA first team level guy. Because he shoots a lot of free throws, doesn't really impact me. Like foul baiting is just a thing that is kind of it exists in the NBA. We see it all the time. Jalen Brunson does it. Joel Embiid does it. Luka Doncic. You cannot. I don't think you can really find a star-like player. Even some role players do it. Foul baiting is just and trying to draw a foul is just a part of the game now. You know, it's a strategic. You know, kind of like it helps your team. Getting the free throw line and getting the other team foul trouble helps your team win a game. Obviously, it's just a strategic part of the game, and it's a part of the game that y'all are just gonna have to deal with because it's not going away. In another 5-10 years, we're gonna see people do it. You know, like it's a thing that happens. You're just gonna have to get over it. And does Shea do it egregiously sometimes? Yes. There was a couple times in this game. There's 2 or 3 times in this game that I'll give you where there's definitely some times where it's like, okay, that was a little much. You know, you didn't mean to do that. And you can find with a lot of star players where there's a couple of times a game where you're like, okay, I understand it, but that one you didn't really need to do it on that one. You know, and I'll give you that. There's a couple times. There's 2 or 3 times. There was 2 or 3 times in this game where there's definitely times where he fell or did something and it was like, okay, Shea, all right. Like you don't have to do that. But for me personally, at least is what I think, that those times per game are not going to impact the way I care about a player or the way I watch him, you know? Like those 2 or 3 times don't make me say, "Oh, I hate watching Shea." Like that it doesn't for me. At least if you do, whatever you do. But for me personally, I really don't care about the foul baiting and the you know the flopping all that stuff. Like I genuinely don't care about it. It happens. I understand that's a part of the game. I understand it's gonna happen. You're gonna see it happen so many times in this series. And the Knicks Pacers, you're gonna see it a lot. And the NBA Finals, you're gonna see it a lot. And when we start up again next year, you're gonna see it a lot. It's just a part of the game. It happens. So just get over with. Yeah, or get over it. It's my thinking, but whatever. But he still had an amazing game. You know, even though he only shot 10 for 27 somehow, yeah, he still had some crazy shots and crazy moments where it's like, yep, there's Shea. But yeah, OKC, great game from them. Um, they're definitely gonna need to come out with a hotter start next game because I'm not going to assume Minnesota is gonna shoot this bad from 3 for 7 games. Like, there's definitely going to be a game or two where Naz Reid isn't going to go 0 for 7 and 1 for 11, maybe again in this series. Not even they're not, the Reid, DiVincenzo, and Alexander Walker are not going to combine for 5 for 28 from 3 for the rest of the series, I assume. Like, they're not going to shoot, I don't know what percentage that is, but that's not a great percentage. I assume 1 or 2 of them are going to have games in this series where they hit 5, 6 threes and have big games, and they're going to make an impact off the bench. You know, I don't expect Jaden McDaniels to foul out every game, but he definitely has to be on the court because I feel like that was a part of the third quarter too, Where once they took Jaden McDaniels out because he had 4 fouls, Shea was just like, okay, time to eat. You know, I got Nickeil Alexander-Walker guarding me. You know, I got, you know, Anthony Edwards guarding me. Mike Conley guarding me. Jalen Clark guarding me. Okay, time to go to work. You know, once McDaniels is off the court, it's time to go to work. And I honestly think Rudy Gobert is probably going to have to play some minutes, a lot more minutes in this series. Even though it might hurt your offensively, you know, the spacing and all that stuff. And with the Thunder, with the way they kind of, you know, get everywhere and have activity everywhere, like just having him in the paint in the game, especially with OKC. OKC's not a great 3-point shooting team either. They also pass up on a lot of opportunities, I feel like, in this game. There's a lot of times I was like, no, shoot the ball. Like Casey Wallace or like Aaron Wiggins, like they had shots. And I was like, bro, shoot it. Like, shoot the three. So yeah, I don't expect Minnesota to shoot this bad again, but I also would think OKC wants to have a better start, wants to get J-Dub and Chet probably more acclimated into the game early. You know, and I also assume Shea is not going to have a 37% shooting from 3 game for the rest of the series too. So there's definitely things that, you know, happen in game 1 that I assume are going to get cleaned up at some point. It's only game 1. Game 1 is definitely more for Fiala game, but a great win for OKC. And yeah, it's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Once again, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so all support on our channel, we very much appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.